Greetings, travelers, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Chrono Trigger presented by Draco Breach. First of all, I want to show off what happens when you go into the Spekkio room with somebody who is below max level. So Magus is still level 56. So if we go in here with him, well, he looks awfully familiar, doesn't he? He has not changed. He will match the level. His form will match the level of your lead party member. So if we leave the room, put somebody who is max level in front, he is now at his maximum form. So, various strategies for going into this battle, and why I'm choosing this one. First of all, Ayla is pretty much useless in this fight. She has a couple of non-elemental magic attacks that can work, but their damage multipliers are not really high enough to keep up in this fight. She is more of a physical brute attacker, and is not really suited for the Spekkio fight. Frog and Robo both have group heal attacks that can make them rather valuable in the fight. So, you know, there's that as a possibility as well. Magus has a bunch of very powerful magic attacks, and he does have the, basically barrier spell. I have plenty of barrier items, so if I feel that I'm getting in a lot of danger with Spekkio, I can swap over to that. Mainly because her protect spell is absolutely useless because Spekkio does not use physical attacks. But Flare, the most powerful spells that you can use are Luminaire, Flare, and Dark Matter. But Magus is not maximum level, and I don't want to grind him up because I want to leave the possibility of getting magic capsules off of Spekkio's lower form if I do more playthroughs on my own time. This is the last episode. I'm done recording for my channel. Trust me. Marl is incredibly useful with her haste spell, even though maximum speed reduces the wait time as much as possible naturally. It can still be reduced by the haste spell, just not by as much. In general, their turns will come around so quickly that Marl can use Cure multiple times before Spekkio gets to attack. Luminaire, duh. Flare, duh. So those two are pretty much what I would recommend having in your party, period. In the DS remake and beyond, she can get an item that makes her immune to Spekkio. Yeah, it's a bit of a broken item. In the DS remake, you can also get a helmet that I would recommend using on Chrono that gives him the effects of the prism specs to max out his attack and increases critical rate, I believe. Increasing critical rate against Spekkio is useless. I would recommend having that and a gold stud equipped to him. As far as equipment, now that I've mentioned equipment, let's go over equipment. Dark Helm to reduce darkness damage against him, because Spekkio does have some pretty powerful darkness attacks, and Crono is technically weak to darkness attacks. White Mail to absorb the most powerful spells that Spekkio has. You'll notice a theme going on, actually. Gold Stud to make sure that he can cast Luminaire with Reckless Abandon. Another option is Prism Specs because it maximizes your attack. Gold Stud because she absolutely needs it. White Mail to absorb Spekkio's most devastating attacks. Prism Helm to have at least one character who cannot be confused, or I think confusion is the only thing that Spekkio can do that Prism Helm will stop. Maybe instant death, but I'm not sure. Mermaid Cap because Luca's kind of weak to water. White Male to absorb the most powerful lightning spells, and Gold Stud to make sure that she can cast Flare with Reckless Abandon. We are not going to be using triple techs in this battle because despite the fact that triple techs are very powerful, in a single round, when you can do around 10,000 damage per round by using the most powerful single tech spells available, versus about 4,500-ish by using a triple tech, you go with single techs. Okay. This is never, ever, ever a guaranteed victory. Even fights against Lavos, as powerful as you are now, are not guaranteed victories because the right circumstances can happen for Lavos, and at least his final form can beat you. Only reason I haven't been beaten by him so far is because I have been lucky that he has not used that rock drop technique more than once per fight. And I tend to use this party against Lavos once they all have max damage potential from magic, because Flare plus Luminaire is just absurd. Isla is a good possibility to slot instead of Marl, because she can crit for 9,999 damage, but Marl is a little more consistent in doing, 12 to 1,500 damage per turn in Lavos' final form on 2 of 3 enemies, whereas Isla can only attack 1 at a time. Anyway, hello new form Spekkio. Actually, before I get started with this fight, he has 20,000 HP in this form. Despite that, it's not going to take 2 rounds to beat him. Hey, Punkhead, where you been? Hi, looking for some practice? Yes. All right. He is super fast. In fact, he will get off his first spell, Dark Matter. I don't think he always uses Dark Matter. Okay, did not have any status effects. Getting off haste. Oh, I used that on Chrono instead of Marl. Whoops. So if I need to heal, I might be in trouble. Especially since he has Halation, which cuts all party members down to 1 HP. And that is incredibly dangerous. So as you can see, Chrono got 2 attacks off. Wait, is Spekkio significantly slower than I actually thought? Possibility. But yeah, you can have quite a bit of trouble going into this battle if you do not prepare. I prepared, so I should not have too much trouble. Oh, right. I actually forgot that even with good damage multipliers, he actually has very good... There we go. That's what I was expecting. Now, at this point, there are certain things... I want to explain what he can do after using that technique. He can either attack you or use a max recovery move. He seems to use the max recovery move if you have 2 or 3 people at 1 HP on the field. He will not use it if you only have 1 person with 1 HP on the field. And what it basically does is he max recovers up to 2 people. It's always going to be the number of people with 1 HP minus 1. And that is incredibly dangerous. I'm not going to rely on it because it's not guaranteed that he will do it. And this is one reason that a lot of people might recommend bringing Frog or Robo. Oh, you're ready to go. Oops. Is because they have a single tech party heal. Like I said, there's no absolute answer to fighting Spekkio. What are you about? Okay, that was me. There's no absolute answer to Spekkio. Whatever you feel is the best strategy, go ahead and use it. I just like to get haste off and then spam Luminaire and Flare as much as possible with the occasional Aura Whirl to make sure that I don't get wiped easily. I should be fine for a couple more attacks. If he uses Flare or Ice 2, I could be in some trouble. But it shouldn't be too bad. The equipment that I chose, I think, maximizes survivability. So I think, like, what I said for equipment is what you should have on whoever you bring in. The white mail, caps to protect you from your weaknesses. At least one person who is immune to status with a prism helm. And, you know, you can play around with your accessories, find out what works best for you. I like gold studs because, like I said, I can just spam attacks. And as long as I can get off an Aura Whirl, I'm fine, pretty much. But as you can see, this is taking a while, and Spekkio can at any point decide, you know, I'm done with you. Here's an attack that you really don't want. Really? You're using... Oh, Flare. I might... Let's do that, just in case. Let's not... I don't like seeing my health drop below 400 on all party members. So I think that's the best option, and we've got to be getting pretty close to okay, one... So, oh, wow. I was going to start talking about other things. That was most embarrassing. And he gives you the Cheerful set, which contains 10 magic tabs, 10 speed tabs, and 10 power tabs, and 10 mega elixirs. And enough praise to last a year. So, I will always say, power tabs are pretty useless. All the people that you would want to use power tabs on, Chrono, Isla, Magus, Robo, and Frog, max out their power stats by the time that they, at the very latest, by the time that they reach maximum level. Magic Tab is incredibly valuable, and Speed Tab is valuable to an extent. All of my characters have maximum speed with the worst possible equipment on, so Speed Tabs to me are currently useless. Magic Tabs, on the other hand, are not useless to me, and that is typically what I go through multiple playthroughs to get the most of, is Magic Tabs, because Chrono has max magic. Marl has max magic. Luca has max magic. Now keep in mind, oh, and Magus does not, but he will. Magus and Luca are the only two who will naturally, through level up, maximize their magic stats. Marl comes very close. I think she's either 4 or 6 away at maximum level, so she doesn't require that many, but she does require a few. Frog will require quite a few, Isla will require a lot, and Robo will require quite a lot as well. But being able to quickly, to do New Game Plus, rush to the end of time, beat Spekkio, save the game, New Game Plus, wash and repeat, you can maximize the magic stats of all your characters pretty quickly. Now, unfortunately, if you rush to the end of time, you won't have Magus at that point if you have him at a lower level, so that you can get, I think 5 I can't remember how many magic taps. I think it actually might just be 1. So, I mean, there's always that. So, just keep that in mind. Now, as far as changes in the DS remake that you see and beyond, there will be a magic portal, not a magic portal, a time portal, sitting right here, that takes you to a Coliseum area where you can raise news to fight them and earn prizes. There aren't too many great prizes through that, but there are some interesting ones. There will also be time warps throughout history that take you to either a bonus boss fight or to a bonus area. The bonus area is where you get Luca's immune to magic armor. The bonus boss fights, you get various powerful weapons, including by defeating a evolved version of Lavos, you get a 90% crit rate sword for Crono. That also increases his damage from 254 to 255. So there's that. The bonus bosses also have the effect of something similar to the ribbon for Robo, where they permanently increase various stats, and you can actually do New Game Plus spamming to get Marl to... wow. To get Marl... I cannot hit buttons for the life of me. To get Marl to maximum hit, which will maximize her attack stats. I don't really put a lot of stock into the attack stats after a certain point, so that's up to you. Also, right, they changed a few things, not just the translation. The translation is considered to be better in the DS version, although there are some iconic lines that fans of Chrono Trigger don't like having removed. Your mileage may vary, but in general, it is a better translation. Also, for some odd reason, Square Enix decided that Dalton was the greatest villain of all time and they needed to carry him over. I hate Dalton. And they made Dalton kind of the main villain for a certain ending. Okay, like, the best thing to come out of remaking it came in the PlayStation remake, although the PlayStation remake is the worst one to play, because load times are ridiculous. But one of the best things that came out of that remake was actually showing the marriage between Crono and Marl. And that is, of course, that is shown in the DS version and beyond as well. Weird thing is like, it's weird to talk about the Beyond DS remakes, like the Android, iOS, and PC ones, because certain cutscenes that were made for the PlayStation or even for the DS have been removed. Not all the cutscenes, just select ones, and it makes no sense. But like I was saying, Dalton was made the main villain, and this was to link Chrono Trigger to Chrono Cross. And part of the reason that I don't particularly care for Chrono Cross, not because it's a bad game, but because the story makes absolutely no sense when you take into account the events of Chrono Trigger. Even if you take into account the events in the DS remake and beyond, because Dalton somehow gathers an army, and 5 years after you defeat Lava, so in the year 1005, he has accumulated an army, taken over Pore, and then conquers Guardia. I don't know who at Square Enix thought that Chrono Trigger fans would believe that literally, wrong menu again, the 3 strongest people in the world who were able to not only defeat Lavos, who was a super powerful alien being, but also, oh my goodness, Shala and Janice's mom, Queen Zeal, who was considered the most powerful magical being in the world. And you're expecting Chrono Trigger fans, you're expecting people who love Chrono Trigger to go, oh yeah, it's believable that Dalton could raise an army that could beat these 3. Literally the most powerful beings in the world. It's impossible to believe that in just 5 years they would lose that strength. Especially if you play the DS version and you get that ending, you have to fight Dalton again, and he tells you directly, he promises you, I will gather an army and I will conquer Guardia and kill everybody in the kingdom. If I heard that threat, I would be preparing for it. I have no idea what Square Enix was thinking when they included that. I do not believe for a second that Dalton would be... he could gather an army. We've proven that with the Blackbird and what he was able to do in the distant past. But there's no way that he could beat Crono, Marl, and Luca. There's absolutely no way. Even if we say maybe Marl was pregnant and couldn't fight, that still leaves Crono and Luca. Even if you say, oh, well, according to a certain cutscene, Luca found a baby, and she might not have been able to fight. I'm sorry. There's still Chrono and Luminaire, and it just... And besides that, Luca can find a babysitter. Maybe even leave the baby with Marl. But anyway, that's the end of my... Dalton is I don't like him, like, at all. And Square Enix expects us to believe that Dalton makes a worthy villain for added content in the DS version and for Chrono Cross. But that's enough of my rant about the bad things that Square Enix has done to Chrono Trigger. And honestly, I just want to leave it with this positive note. Chrono Trigger is my favorite game of all time because it doesn't waste your time. Everything that you do is for the cause of saving the world. Every side quest pushes you towards beating Lavos, to helping your friends, to making the future better. And I like the entire cast. True, I don't necessarily use all of them to their greatest effect, and that's because, I just look at how they perform in battle, and it's like, how will this person help here or there, or, all that stuff. And I find certain party combinations to be better than others. But other people will think this combination is better, or this combination is better. And the thing is, with how powerful all these party members are, you're not wrong. You are absolutely not wrong to think that a certain party combination is better. And in fact, while I will say Magus is very difficult to use because he doesn't have any dual techs or triple techs without items, the speedrun actually uses Magus and his items to do triple techs. So, there you have it. There are possibilities everywhere for every party member to be useful in any situation. Just because I prefer a particular party setup doesn't mean it's the right party setup for somebody else. And that's one thing that I love about Chrono Trigger. There is absolutely no correct party formation. Whereas other games, you can't really say that. There's not that many games out there that I can think of where you can say 100% that, every party combination is right, like Chrono Trigger. But there are games out there that do a very good job of that, and feel free to tell me about a game that does that in the comments. In fact, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, but until next time, this will be Draco Breach reporting out. God bless and safe travels.